Hi, everyone.
Hi guys.
Lovely to see you again. Today is not really anything specific at all, is it, Dan? It's just a general chat about the year and
Yeah.
perfumes that we've discovered and revisited, perhaps.
So we've ummed and ahed about this a bit. We've kind of slightly gone off doing these seasonal, top tens, top 10 winter and stuff. We may come back to it at the moment, but we just feel we'd be regurgitating the same thing. So we didn't really want to do that. Then we thought about, well, should we have a top 10 purchases of the year or top 10 discoveries? And we thought that'd be a bit more interesting. But then we decided we were going to be a bit more kind of general than that because it's been quite an unusual year in terms of the way we've experienced. Certainly for us, it's been unusual because, here we are. We started doing this channel because it was something we would get together, smell things together, share things, go, look, smell this, try this, try this. We haven't been able to do that. We spent most of the time over Zoom. So that's made things more complicated.
It's so strange, isn't it?
But, personally, it's been amazing to have been able to carry on doing this in this way. Like for me, it's been
True,
a bit of a lifeline, in a way.
Same here.
So,
and cheers to that, I'd say.
Cheers. So we're basically just talking about our kind of fragrance. Some of the favorite things we've discovered, some of the things we reviewed, if we've gone back to them, have we liked them so much? Some of what old fragrances we've gone back to, some classic fragrances, old kind of vintage fragrances which we bought, some new tangents we've gone down as well. I think, but we can't talk about this year in terms of fragrance without talking about this fragrance. Oh, I can't get to focus. But
and there she is in her little box.
Yeah. About the Waft from I can't get to focus, but
I actually already drank one of these the other day. I felt quite ill, but it was very good. This
is the Waft from the Loft. This is our collaboration with Sarah McCartney, and 2020 is going to be remembered for a lot of bad things, but for us, it will be the year that somebody created a fragrance for us, and what an amazing experience it was for her to have been so generous, not just in terms of times and money, but in terms of self. Like, she was so open, willing to share everything all the time, willing to let us kind of do whatever we liked without telling us we were idiots.
Which we are. I mean, we know nothing, do we? Really, we're sort of learning as we go. But really, it's like two people turning up to a scientist and saying, "I think if I put some water and mix it with some gasoline, it'll make this. What do you think?" And he says, "Come with me. I'll show you." And she did that. She sort of took us into her life. I kind of miss her. Do you?
Yeah. I mean, well, hopefully
I miss sort of chatting, and we should catch up.
I missed that kind of process.
I texted her today actually, and I said, let's get back together, because I'd forgotten to reply a week or so ago about having a Zoom catch up. So we will do that.
But also the fact that she's managed to create a fragrance which I almost think we weren't quite entirely sure what we wanted, but she's managed to create a fragrance which has got, it's all of the memories of the Loft. Which feels particularly appropriate now when we can't be there.
Yeah, totally.
At least she's got it in bottle form.
I've never smelt it in the Loft.
Well, when we first got it, we tried it in the Loft, didn't we?
Did we? I can't remember.
Yeah, we made a video.
The final version?
Yeah.
I can't even remember. I thought we did that here. I didn't remember that we did it in the Loft.
No, we did. We managed. I think our first video back in the Loft for that brief period was smelling that.
Oh God! Well, no, I'm completely mistaken then, because I've got such a vivid memory of being sat here at the desk and smelling all of the samples and all of the sort of what do you call them? There's a name for them. The mods. They call them mods.
Yeah, mods. Yeah.
Smelling all of those. I'd forgotten all about Church.
Can we skip to the end of 2020? Because we're going to talk on our channel. We've talked about some quite expensive fragrances, and like our two of our latest videos of the year, January Scent Project and Francesca Bianchi, two fragrances which I really think are worth kind of like mentioning, and people should go out and try. We talked about lots of expensive perfumes, you know, going into this kind of niche, especially this kind of artisan world with lots of oud and all that jazz, gets really expensive. So to have, you know, a 50 ml eau de parfum for $65 from January Scent Project in the shape of Hola, or a 30 ml X-Ray from Francesca Bianchi for €98 in the shape of Tiger, is brilliant. I mean, it's just top level perfumery, original, with a massive nod to the past, with a classical skill and technique, but original flair, loads of personality, brilliant perfumes. Love them.
And, you know, absolutely accessible to anyone that thinks that niche perfume and, you know, exploring this stuff isn't their cup of tea and that they want to stick to the designers that they know and love. I say get yourself onto these guys, because Francesca Bianchi and January Scent Project are both absolutely right down the middle. They're accessible. There's something to love for everybody. You know, if one of them doesn't agree with you, there will be something that does, because they're so well made. They have such personality.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their fragrances, if there's one which has notes which kind of sticks out to you, get it, because they're all good. None of them are bad.
There's not one, is there? There's not one.
What should we talk about now? Shall we? How about, so we've explored a couple of natural perfume houses this year. Yeah. So, I mean, it's exciting to discover new materials, and especially oud and some animalics, and to discover perfumers who are using the highest possible level of natural materials. Has been so exciting. I wouldn't say I'm somebody who goes out of my way to find an all-natural perfume.
No, me neither. I'd been sort of aware of them in the past, actually, but I think unnecessarily.
And there are instances where you know, it almost feels like they're going all natural for the sake of being it, and you just think, God, I just wish they'd put in some synthetics to bring it to life. But a couple of houses that I really enjoyed. One was Thion Reintal natural perfume. Oh God, I really can't get this to focus today. Anyway, there we go.
I remember that.
That's Pagan Oud. And I've also got a pencil here. So these are perfumes that I bought. Focus. Anyway, so these are just
they were really good, weren't they?
They're wonderful, wonderful perfumes. They are more expensive than Francesca Bianchi and January Scent Project, but they're also a house that, you know, when we were working through them, I didn't smell any duds. There's lots of different fragrances. There's some with not classic cheaper style fragrances. There were some very oud-centric fragrances. There were other. There was an amazing chocolate one. You know, lots of different fragrances, and it's the kind of house that if you see a fragrance and like the notes list, go for it, because they all smell great. And
I might be wrong, but I saw recently that there was a 50% off sale.
Yes.
On that house. I don't know if that's still going, because I've not checked it out. But I mean, if you want to explore them now, might be the time.
But I've got so here I've got Pagan Oud, which is this. It's on one hand it's this really, really old school dark green bitter chypre, but it's also got some Vietnamese and Hindi oud in it, which just gives it funk, and she uses all her perfumes all natural, and she doesn't want to use natural animalics, so she uses oud as the animalic, which is really interesting. This one, black spruce, cedar tree, Vietnamese oud.
Oh yes, I remember that. I had all the samples, didn't I? And I remember sitting at the piano smelling them, and each one I just thought, yep, that's amazing.
Award. This is Diane St. Clair, and this is her bottle of Pandora. This is one of the ones which is nominated. It's just this really beautiful, magical chypre, which is it's paired with a sister, which is Eve, and that's largely based on the Garden of Eden. So both this and Eve have this apple accord. This is just this beautiful, lush garden with roses, some more green notes, and you realise it turns into a kind of a real chypre with a beautiful mossy labdanum base. So that
which one did I love? Was it Casablanca? I'm trying to remember.
One.
Huh?
This
is that
one,
Casablanca?
Casablanca.
Yeah. that I remember really, really loving. Well, I loved all of them, but I loved a couple especially, and that was
So this
was up there,
this is a 50% concentration fragrance. So the reason I've only got a small bottle is because it's really expensive, but it is amazing. And this is just a real kind of wham bam glam, exotic, rich.
What is that? 15 mil?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think Is it, or is it even 10? May even be 10. But
you don't need much, do you? You really are getting your money's worth with those things.
Yeah. Okay, where should we go next, Joe?
Paris.
Yeah.
No.
If only.
Well, so shall I show a few little bits, maybe?
Yeah.
I've not bought a huge amount of perfume this year, personally speaking. I bought a few little things that were on my to-do list. So one of which I'm really pleased with is this bad boy here, which is Anatolia from Prin.
Ah, yes, the kind of
Turkish leather, times two, not times two.
Version 2.
Mach 2. Yeah, I love it. I have to say, if I'm being brutally honest, I still think the original Turkish leather is better. I think the one that you've got, Dan, is better. I'm a little bit more aware of the ISO super in this, but I kind of don't care because I love it so much, and it just brings a smile to my face every time I wear it. It's great stuff, and we're big fans of Prin, as you probably all know. So I've been really pleased to finally get this on my to-do list.
Is this a good time to kind of segue to talk about Prin? A little bit.
He's always a big feature for us in our.
He is. I mean, we're lucky to have met him, and we're always so interested in what he's been up to. He's been up to a lot this year, and I think I bought at the beginning of the year. I bought Mriga. If you see this there, which I would still say, oh come on, focus. Yeah. It's incredible. It's such a Prin color, isn't it? I think this is the best synthetic deer musk accord effect that I've ever smelled. Absolutely sensational. He's been really busy. He's released a lot of fragrances. On our last video, we talked about some of his Prin releases for his house Prin, and I don't think all of those were his best work. I think we kind of both agree.
Yeah, I mean they were good, but I mean we're so used to a different level with him, aren't we? And I think maybe they were a little bit, too much going on, a little bit too productive, maybe. Which is admirable as well. Yeah,
I mean, but I will say, so we've actually got some of the samples of his newest Prasanna releases. This one is, what's this? I mean, if I can ever get this to kind of focus. This is called Savitri. I'm going to give up in a minute. Yeah, so he sent us Savitri. Yeah, and I will say we haven't reviewed these yet. We might be something we have to kind of save for the new year, but I think I prefer these.
Yeah, they're really good.
So that was Prin. Sorry,
I've got another one which I forgot to mention, which I have been wearing a little bit, which is this guy here, Wicked John.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at the packaging. Just a simple little blue box. All the money is in the juice. And I love this because it's like lavender, iris. You've got tobacco in there, gunpowder, soil accord in the base. It's really good. It's really good. It's a little exclusive made for Bloom in London, and yeah, it's got that personality which is unmistakably Prin.
Yeah,
I've not worn Mora all year, which is crazy because I love that.
Oh, I love Mora. I
just neglected it.
Yeah.
But there's been a pandemic on. I'm not thinking straight. What can I say?
So is this a good time to segue to, old flames?
Women.
But I mean, I've certainly
maybe some old flames.
I mean, I've certainly got. I've found myself going back to old, loves, and especially, when we did our keep only 10 fragrances list earlier in the year, I found that for both of us, that there were a lot of fragrances which would have been in the same list 3 or 4 or 5 years before.
Yeah, which is consistent, and I guess sort of proves the point, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does prove but it's also that, whilst I think, in this video we're going to talk about lots of new discoveries and some, slightly new like tangents and tastes, but we're still finding ourselves coming back. So earlier this year, something momentous happened. I had to break into a new bottle of Timbuktu. So I only started this bottle, I think it was like May or something. So it's during the pandemic. So
wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I know. It's. I mean, my wife does wear it as well, but it's. I've already got through a few of these. So this is a new one. Well, it kind of need to be. It's still that good old formulation, but they're more and more difficult to get these ones, which I find.
Yeah, I might try and stock up actually.
Jerry.
I've got one bottle and it's almost full. Like most of my stuff is almost full, but I love it.
And then this really quite kind of special bottle. I really can't focus on anything. So this is another one. This is terrifyingly empty. Look, it's like half empty. My cheap Propalaton one. This is still my like go-to best fragrant. If I want something which
it's genius.
If I want a fragrance that kind of does,
genius, isn't
it? It just does everything. It makes me so happy. It's, I don't want to say it's like a perfect fragrance or it's a signature scent or anything like that, but I really, really like it a lot.
Also, maybe a time to mention, we talked about Francesca Bianchi, Sarah McCartney, Prin, all great perfumers. But it's worth remembering with something like Chypre Powhatan, it's from a different generation of perfumers that's still with us today. Bertrand Duchefort.
Different
type.
It's
really nice.
He's a kind of
a different type as well, of course.
He's a classically sold grand perfumer that's had like big contracts with big companies, as opposed to completely different to someone like Russian Adam, for instance, who's a distiller who set up his own company. So what else?
Coincidence that those last two perfumes were both by him.
Yeah.
And look at the enormous difference between them.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not a mark of a versatile genius, then what is?
So, what else have you found? Is there anything you found you like kept like?
I've gravitated to a few. I've showed you these already. I've been wearing the Youth Dew quite a bit. It's such a comforting fragrance. It's so good.
Lovely cola,
it's lovely sort of cherry cola vibe. One thing I'm going to do, because I've read so much good stuff about it, and I remember smelling it once. That's it. I mean, that bow is just horrendous. I really don't like the bow. There's an amber version of this, which was done under Tom Ford's direction, which is meant to be incredible. So I want to get that. I've been sort of on a nice patchouli kick as well. So actually, this is Borneo 1834, which I got and have loved.
Smells. I remember we smelt it in the loft. I can't remember which video, but like
great stuff,
sensational stuff.
And the bottle doesn't really do it justice, because actually it's a very classically sort of delicious patchouli chocolate thing. It's not the gothic thing that bottle would suggest.
And also the thing which Socially Stand have done, which they've just whacked up their prices. They put them in a different bottle and made them 5 times. Like most Kubli Khan is like, what is it, like 8 billion euros or something now? When it used to be like...
These are 260 pounds for an EDP. And I mean, sorry, Serge, but these are really flimsy boxes. For 260 pounds, that's not good.
But also
the perfume is lovely.
But the perfume used to be like, what, 79?
It was the regular lineup.
It
was up there with Shaggy and things like that. So I've been enjoying that. I've been loving my Mai from Bogway again.
Yeah.
Really, it's great for sort of comforting you on a cold night.
And we've got a new release of his to talk about soon.
Yes, which is going to be another video, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, old classics, but that I've recently sort of repurchased after years, like Aramis 900.
Nice.
Which I love. I mean, it's the baby brother to Aromatics Elixir. But if you know, if you want a really good cheaper from the 1970s that ticks all the boxes, you can't go wrong with that. There's a few things. I made a couple of new purchases as well. London to Mumbai.
Oh, yeah, we never talked about that. That's such a good fragrance.
It's great stuff. Great sort of Rive Gauche-esque barbershop. Tabusha Fandi as well. Love that.
Yeah. That is so good.
Yeah, just stuff that I'd smelt before a long time ago, and had wanted. But I got these all for really cheap as well. I mean, I've been a bit cautious this year with all my work kind of disappearing like a sort of crap down the loop. So I've got these in good deals, and I've seen them and thought, you're mine. I'm having you. I sometimes I'm a bit slow, but sometimes you have to jump on something when you see it. And these were up there for me. Speaking
of which, there's one fragrance, almost above all, which I was like, I was just after for forever, and that was this little bad boy. If you can read it, Derby by Guerlain. So this is the aftershave, but even this, it's just.
Yeah, how does it wear on skin? Because I smelt it on card, but
yeah, really, like amazingly well. Like you would think it was, if it were an EDT, I would say it was very good, and if it was an EDP, I would be happy with it. Yeah, and even though it's an old bottle, it's just magic. Oh,
it's one of my absolute favorites in the world. That stuff.
And another one, which is a kind of like a kind of holy grail. I don't know if you can see if it's going to focus.
Yes.
Yeah, there it is.
I really want that.
It's only looks so empty because what I've done is I've been decanting it. So this is another splash bottle, so I've been decanting it into an atomizer, and this is just. It's just it's so good. It's just everything you want. Everything every time you smell the 1980s aromatic, you think, yeah, it's okay. It's just it's a bit rough around the edges, and it's not quite as refined as I want. This is what you want.
Yeah.
Not cheap, unfortunately.
But nothing of that era, of that standard is. You can buy reformulated stuff and sort of imitations, but things like that are worth their weight in gold. They really are.
So the other kind of area, if you like, I wanted to talk about is oils and Attars. So I found myself certainly at the beginning of the lockdown. Just because you had this strange situation when you weren't really going out and interacting with people, I still kept wearing fragrance as much, if not more, because I tend to wear things for myself. So early-ish on the year, I bought 2 fragrances from a house that I bought from before, and I really love, which is Sultan Pasha, Attars. You still haven't. That's the problem with this year. You still haven't smelt these. You will go absolutely. No. You will wet yourself over Thebes, grade 1, which is his kind of interpretation. I don't think it's an exact copy, but his interpretation of Jedi by Guerlain. I've just mixed up now. And it's just the most somber, kind of morose, melancholic. I've never really smelled anything like it. It's so deep and rich and absolutely miserable.
Awesome!
Like it's so wow. It really, really, really is well.
So these are like little 1 ml oil bottles.
Yeah.
Is that how they come?
So these are just 1 ml ones. I mean, and then I've also got Jiraiya, which is if the question is rose oud, the answer is Jiraiya. It's just it's just the rose is just it's multiple types of type rose, which just bang, they just come off out of the, even though it's just an oil, it just comes off at you, and just like it's so fresh. It's got that kind of like minty, zingy, lemony, energetic, and then there's a whole world of deep, rich complexity with some like tenacious, growly Hindi oud in there as well.
Perfect amazing. For a lockdown, actually, aren't they? Perfect in terms of being able to lock yourself away at home. Oh, my light's gone off there. Sorry, apologies. Perfect for perfect. I'm just going to adjust my lighting here because I've got this fancy thing. Perfect for being at home and going on a bit of a journey, I guess.
And yeah, it was interesting. One of the fun things that we did was this video with Josh.
I love that.
Yeah, from Smelly Vision of exploring some oud oils, and yeah, it's amazing how complete they are as fragrance experiences.
Yeah, each one is a whole perfume in itself. You know, despite being used as a base note or a fixative in something, they actually are all complete perfumes.
Yeah. I mean, and we were lucky. So I'm going to talk about Mellifluence in a second, but because we had a few oils, oud oils from Mellifluence, which are all really, really great. I've since bought one from Ensar Oud, Sumanaka, which is a kind of high. It's got Thai and Cambodian co-absolute. Very, very easy wearings, quite citrusy, floral, easy going. Oud oil, and then I also bought one from Oud Base, which I really, really love. This is called Thai Pea, and you've got to smell this. This is
Thai Pea.
Oh yeah, Thai and then Pea. This is absolutely sensational. This is one which when I bought it, I was just night after night. When I kind of sat down in the evening, I was applying this, and it's such a beautiful kind of rich, like it has kind of a hint of funk, but then there's just like caramel and rich chocolatey and sexiness, and
I need to try that.
Lovely.
Good base. I need to look them up and get exploring.
Well, they're a British-based house. So another British-based house, which I think is the house it is from which I bought the most fragrances this year. 6 fragrances from Mellifluence.
Yes.
So I think I mentioned in my spring selection, I mentioned an oil from them, Beyond the Hills, which, no, Joe, again, you haven't had a chance to smell it, but it's a kind of sort of like, if you imagine an all-natural Cape Heartache with a little bit more incense, it's that kind of vibe.
Nice. I was just talking about that the other day.
I mean, there's loads of things. There's Oceanus, which is just about kind of ambergris, and it's kind of taking it to its most ambergris-est extreme. It's kind of like those anonym fragrances, what they were aiming for, but I think it's been done done better here. My favorite is
exciting.
I can't even remember how you say it. Kore Hayaki, and this is Kore Hayaki too. And this is just if you imagine like some kind of 19th century like Japanese tea house where people just go to drink tea, and there's smouldering incense everywhere, and everything is lined with dark wood. That's what this smells like.
I like it.
It's amazing, but we haven't had a chance, because we haven't been able to get together and swipe things on. But we haven't talked about Mellifluence this year. But I do think he is, as we talked about January Scent Project and Francesca Bianchi at the beginning, he is a perfumer who I feel you absolutely get value for money. The materials are second to none. It's actually another all-natural perfumer, but loads of, if you're into your oud and your ambergris and your musk and everything, there's loads of it there. But it's not just whacking around crazy ingredients. It's beautiful, beautiful magic. That's
what we need as well. We need someone that actually cares about the quality of the ingredients and lets them speak for themselves. Like good cooking is all about that, isn't it? It's not necessarily sort of trying to jazz things up. It's just trying to strip things down and give you the raw product at its best.
And what I like about him as well is he's so utterly transparent. He's always posting about, I've got this new material. I've just bought this material. I bought this. I'm going to try something with this. And I've actually been talking to him a little bit. He was asking for suggestions. And I said, I like a dirty iris fragrance. And I was wondering if he could do some kind of iris combined with like a chocolatey oud and some labdanum to make like a dirty, rich iris. And I think he's going to do it, which is quite cool.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's definitely worth a video, isn't it? To have a smell of some of those.
I think we will devote some time to him because he's doing great work.
Oh, cool. Well, I mean, it's been a sort of adventure, hasn't it? I was gonna chuck a couple more things out. I was gonna say as well. I've really enjoyed some old favourites. Again, going back to Sarah McCartney, I didn't mention at the beginning, but Ealing Green again is something I've loved in the springtime. Shazam, which is right there. Just
Amazing.
going back to these woody, you sort of spice markets.
Cedar and labdanum,
delicious. Absolutely love it. And my old favourite, which I hardly ever wear, but just because it's discontinued, the Gucci pour on that original. I mean, this is, speaking of woods, this is like cedarwood sawdust incense central. And there she is in her little thing.
Oh,
beautiful. I mean, I just never wear it very much because it's gone, and I know that I'll never buy a bottle of this retail. This cost me £39. I saw it in a pharmacy in Barnes, and I went back and I got it, and I'm glad I did. But yeah, I want to try those oils. I want to.
Yeah, it's the same.
Because I don't own any oils at all.
Well, it's only this year, and I don't know if it's been a combination of trying the oud oils, and also the nature of a lockdown, the being at home and not being able to, maybe not worrying about spraying and then going out, and also not worrying about offending people. So I thought I can slap on a load of oud or whatever, and it's just for me. Yeah. It doesn't matter. So speaking of slapping on oud and things like that, and another fragrance which it seemed ages ago we reviewed it, but my first experience of Ensar oud, it is
great
Crime and Punishment. And yeah, this is one which, wow, I felt this has really come to life. It's kind of matured enormously since we first talked about it. It's just the musk in this, and I know there are people have ethical questions, but real deer musk, what it does in here is just it's just magic. This is essentially a kind of a musk-centric fragrance, I think of it. Lovely kind of brightness, kind of springy, bright, energetic reds and light flashing across you at the start. And then eventually you're taken down to this sumptuous, musky bed. And this is almost, kind of religious experience kind of stuff. And
I really loved that stuff when I tried it.
The other one, which I feel similarly about, a slightly more recent purchase, is Musk Love. I think this is one of the best releases from Areej Doré, a house which we've talked about and loved lots. Again, it's this, the musk in this, again, it almost makes it like a slightly, when we did our first impressions, I had a slightly emotional response to this. And wearing it even more so. I mean, I love lavender, and this is just the most amazing lavender with that beautiful iris in the middle. This is essentially a kind of quite a traditional chypre, really. But it happens to have kind of lavender up top with some iris in the middle, and then a kind of oak mossy dry down with this musk. And God, magic!
It's ingenious, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, what a variety of stuff there as well. The kind of relative cheapies, and then right up to the kind of upper end of things. I mean, we smelled all those strange love things as well, which is another level again. But good perfume. It clearly does not have to cost the earth. There are people at all price points that care about what they're doing, and
I mean, talking about strange love,
into
I've seen they've actually put their prices up since we did that video. I mean, I mean, I picked up a bottle because it was about £85 for 30ml, which is still a lot, but it was much less than what the retail was then.
That's a real deal.
And the retail's gone up, and there's no reason it costs the silly money it costs now. So what you said, you've got a couple of purchases on the horizon.
Oh yeah. Well, a few things I want to get at the moment. One of them is Amber Kisso by DS and Durga.
Oh yeah, I've not tried it. I mean, it's something I've heard lots
I've worn it a couple of times. It's still on my jacket from the day before yesterday, and it's lasted, and it's really good stuff. Sort of really woodsy, smoky, slightly labdanum-y, sweet amber. It's really incredible. So that's what I really, really want to get. There's a few things that have been on my mind. Like I want to get some of those Melag things as well. I want to get his big patchouli thing, the like Vienna 1900 or whatever it's called. I've been eyeing that up, and I don't know. I'm umming and ahhing about some old classics as well that I feel I should have. Like I still don't have the EDP of La Bleu by Guerlain, which is really silly. I need to get that. But the DS and Durga is kind of high on my list at the moment, and I think I might be in the market for some more Frederick Mal stuff.
Which ones?
I think there's a few in there. Well, I really like Monsieur. The more I smell it, the patchouli thing. I'm a big fan, and although it's really not rose and leather to me, the Rose Queer by Jean-Claude Helena.
Yeah, I
really like that a lot. So yeah, I've sort of spotted various odds and sods. I know I'm going to have to buy some more zoologists. I'm not going to do it for a while. I'm trying to be sensible, but when the new rhinoceros and dodo come out, if I like them, I'll buy them again. I've got the originals, and I love them. But if the reforms are interesting versions of them, then
I think it's been an interesting year for zoologists. I mean, I've got some samples of musk deer. We might do a video on it at some point, but to have so many reformulations, and the thing I found a bit strange is that there have been lots of reformulations when he hasn't gone back to the perfumer. He's gone.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that's about.
Yeah. And also,
because
again,
you think that they would do it well.
I think we'll maybe talk about it if we discuss musk deer. We might talk about this. Him releasing Sven Pritzkelite's Powder and Dust. So he announced on Facebook that he had bought the formula for that, and he was going to release that as a what was it, cockatoo or something, some kind of bird.
Yeah.
But this is a fragrance that Sven Pritzkelite released, and it was a collaboration with Jana Tomales, and they won an art and olfaction award from it. They collaborated in the same way that we collaborated with Sarah McCartney, and Jana seemed quite upset because the rights to that fragrance have been sold without her consultation, and the zoologists were going to release it as an animal, which is not how she conceived it. I don't know. Interesting.
No.
Don't know the full story, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see where zoologists go as they get bigger and more.
And then another house I want to keep my eye on is Andy Tower, because we've not talked about any of his stuff for a while, have we?
No.
And there's been a few little things in the pipeline.
Yeah. I mean, I briefly tried. I've not, properly tested. I've only, he's recently released this. I've only tried like going through the shops. We tried in Paris, actually, didn't we? In Jovois in Paris.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I need to give them more time, because amongst lots of other things, I kind of sprayed them and I wasn't quite wowed. So maybe I need to give them more time and wear them on skin and test them properly.
One I smelled the other day, which I need to get at some point, is the MDCI Ambra Tokapi.
Tokapi, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
It is really
amazing. So vintage, so recognizable, but so well done.
Another one,
absolutely stunning.
Another purchase, actually. I don't know if you've smelt this. We've certainly not really talked about it, but it is. You can't actually see the name, but it's Ore by Slumberhouse.
No, I've not smelled that yet.
So this is Slumberhouse. It's one of those houses that it's almost like it was mythological, because you'd hear about it lots, but it seemed to be absolutely impossible to acquire it. And they used to sell them in Rulio White in London, but they haven't sold them for quite a while. And it's a non-IFRA house, so it's surprising that they did sell them in London. But anyway, there's a shop in, I can't remember, it's in Poland. I can't remember the name of it, but they did stock some of these. And when they had Ore in, I went for it. And this is absolutely spectacular. I mean, it's the kind of, it's the richest, darkest, bit bitterest, booziest chocolate ever. And as someone who
Wow.
doesn't really like chocolate, it's just so dark and almost dangerously rich and woody, and
I'd like
it's
to try that.
so thoughtfully composed, and it's really, really. I mean, this would.
I want to try Norn as well. I keep reading about Norn.
Yes, Norn.
Another
I
one
might have a sample
I've
of it
not
somewhere.
smelled.
And Norn is amazing. And Norn was the one I'd heard of because, and it was from being obsessed with Arso by Profumum Roma and people
Yeah.
kind of comparing the two. But you have to try this. This is definitely in my kind of top 6 or 7 purchases of the year,
Wow.
or by Slumberhouse. Another
And
one.
Pear and Olive is another one I remember reading about once upon a time, which sounds just so bizarre that I'm interested to see what the hell they do with it.
Another one which we haven't actually spoken about. And you haven't smelled. Just see if it. So, Amalur by Elixir Attar. So this is another quite expensive fragrance. I think this is about maybe $110 for like 15 ml or something. It's really expensive. So it's an all natural. I mean, it's quite oud centric, but this is one of the most amazing citrus fragrances I've ever smelled. It smells like lemon sherbet, as if you're
Oh, nice.
like it's the citrus opening is just amazing and energetic and long lasting. I wore it in the summer, on some summer evenings when you wanted something which was kind of had the kind of a fresh, zingy, energetic quality, but was long lasting and with lots of body. And it's essentially it is an oud centric fragrance.
Quite hard to come by those fragrances.
Yeah, I mean, not cheap, for this tiny little bottle, but gorgeous stuff. Okay, well, do you think
A nice little selection there, I think.
Have we got anything else to say?
I don't think so. I mean, there's one more I forgot to mention. I should just say, which is Queer Intense by Guerlain.
Oh,
which
you did
enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
I do enjoy that. I won't bother getting it out, but it doesn't smell like a Guerlain, but it does smell like a really nice saddle leather. It smells more like something I'd expect from Hermes in their little Herminescences collection. But it's been a nice year to just try some new stuff, go back to some old stuff, not have the day dictated to in terms of rush hour, travel to work, come home, have dinner. It's been a little bit more free, maybe.
Not that we ever do that anyway, but I mean.
No.
So what is anything you're excited about or looking up for next year? Not especially, other than just seeing what new things people bring out. I'm very excited by Liz Moore's doing something new. I was going to say that. Have you seen the notes list?
Yes, it's incredible. I mean, but then again, you could write any notes list with her. You could literally write down citrus, woods,
banana and custard or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I want to try that.
Gotta wait till July for that.
Keen. Yeah, but hopefully by then, we'll all be, we'll all be healthy and
it'd be great to meet her, invite her on.
Yeah, I would love to speak to her actually. Yeah, just more. I'd like to see more of what Sarah McCartney's up to. I've not followed her anywhere near as closely as I should have been.
Yeah.
In the past, and
she's a busy bee, and she's starting to do some fragrances for other companies and expand. And she's got a book coming out.
Yeah, want to do that. I just want to learn more. I think I want to kind of get more information and do a bit more learning and a little bit less kind of smelling the stuff I think I'll enjoy. There's so much stuff out there that I would avoid, even in shops. There's 90% of things I don't bother smelling because I want to smell the stuff that's on my radar.
Yeah,
and I want to try and break that habit a little bit. I want to sort of change my algorithms.
It is tricky, isn't it? It is easy to go down a kind of ultra niche wormhole. Yeah,
totally.
And be wowed by prices and wacky materials and things. And I'm so. I mean, I did in terms of, I bought Beau de Jour by Tom Ford at the start of the year. That was right at the start of the year when it came out. And it's really, really, really great stuff. Really enjoy it. I'm still, hoping to discover. I think I just, if I walk, I mean, I don't not let anybody walk through a department store at the moment, but if I do, I would never even kind of glance at those designer fragrances, and maybe I should make myself, because I'm sure there's going to be some good things in there.
I think, especially considering how much we love the classics, I think it's interesting how many of them we probably are still, are yet to smell. I think of all of those Estee Lauder things. I think of, huge amounts of the kind of classics that I see on the shelves, like Cartier, Pasha de Cartier, Must de Cartier, all of those things.
Yeah.
I have no idea how they smell, and they were all pretty much kind of reference orientals of the time. I want to learn more of those. But I mean, basically, I want to keep smelling good perfume, whether it's designer, niche, sort of little indie houses.
I'm still always.
I think I want to have more courage next year to bite the bullet and buy some things as well. I'm always very reticent about what I buy, and I think I'm being picky, but actually I'm not being picky. I'm kind of being overly cautious and thinking, do I really like that enough? Am I going to wear it? Am I going to like it the week after? Because I'm very changeable.
But that's good as well. I mean, it's easy also to, it's easy to kind of get caught up in like, the hype or the first impression, and just think, oh, I've got to have that, and and that's why it's interesting to come back to the purchases from this year and which ones do you think, yes, they were good, which ones?
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly, so in terms of, I know we had that Amouage Black Iris Man, which bought and sold immediately, didn't like at all. The only other time I've done that this year has been Dixit and Zach Cashmere Nuit. I don't know if we even really spoke about that. So it's another house which, people, this was an all natural fragrance, and people, they did Rising Mysore. I don't know if you seen people do, people kind of raved about it. If you like Ensar, if you like Areej, if you like Bortnikov, you've got to try this. So, and I bought this Cashmere Nuit at an expensive price, similar kind of brackets to Bortnikov and the likes of that, and just couldn't smell anything. It just didn't smell like, I'm sure like it's got the most amazing natural materials, but you have to really go like that to kind of smell. And I gave it 3 or 4 wearings, and I'm like, look, I don't expect a beast mode fragrance, but I expect to be able to smell something.
Yeah, I can't be bothered with that sort of thing. I don't mind working hard to enjoy the sort of the depth of something, but if I have to work hard to smell it at all, I'm just not interested. And even if you can't smell it for a particular reason, like you can't pick up certain woody ambers or something like that, same difference. You can't smell it, so it doesn't matter why. It just matters that you're not experiencing it.
And it just felt.
You didn't have COVID, did you?
No, not then.
Good. Because I was going to say it could be your worst sell ever.
But yeah, and from an expensive fragrance like that, and I just kind of felt I could tell there were some beautiful things in there, but give me some synthetics, make it sing, bring it to life a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Anyway, let's hope we can be in the loft more for 2021.
Oh, we will be for sure.
Better bloody well hope so.
And now that the vaccine is out there, I think, and if that doesn't work, we can always inject people with Bortnikov, and I think that should kill anything.
I'm sure that'll do, yeah. Anyway, it'd be great to hear from people from what your best discoveries from the year, or how has the year kind of changed your taste, changed your, the way you've weared fragrance, or if you've gone off it completely, or maybe you lost. I lost my sense of smell for 3 days. I thought it was going to be a year and a half, and I was like panicking, thinking, what am I going to do with all my perfume? Fortunately, it was only 3 days, and then it kind of came back pretty much fine. So, but I don't know if anybody else has lost their sense of smell because of COVID and thought, oh my God, what am I going to do with all these £1,000 worth of perfume? Have you dealt with that?
Apart from sending it to us.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a long enough video, I'm sure. See you
Must
next
see
year.
you all.
Till
Bye.
next time, happy sniffing.